Hello everyone, welcome back to another edition of Classic Model Trains. I've been sitting around here for the last 3 days trying to figure out which locomotive I wanted to work on. Well, you can tell which one I picked because of the way the thumbnail looks, but I sit around here and I gaze at this thing, and I decided that this little one right up here, it's been waiting for almost 2 years to get a little tuning and stuff done to it. Now it did run a little bit, 2 years ago when we showed it in one of the videos. Oh my, look at that. I did not expect that at all. But it's time for it to get a full re-lube, full clean, full cosmetic restoration. Before we get started though, let's take a quick little look at it. Let me show you guys what it looks like right now. Here's the old oh, look at that. Both sides of this one articulate. I think on the real locomotive, the rear one was fixed and only the front would articulate. They did this so it can navigate tighter corners. There's the Rivarossi pizza cutters. But we need to get into this. Got this big bugger. And we're missing the brushes. I stole them out of this to put in the big boy when I ran it like 2 years ago, and that's as far as I've ever got with it. Here's the tender looking all nasty. I mean, that is a dirty tender. God, can't wait to get that under the sink and give it a washing. It's terrible. I can see a screw right up here, and there's gotta be a screw somewhere down under here in the back. And I can see it. It's right there. Maybe I'll just take screws out until it falls apart. Front of the boiler. Oh well, that was simple enough. Oh yeah. And then we've got the handrails at the back. They need to be removed. Yes. One more. Straight out. Oh. Well, that was easier than I thought it would be. Yep. Set up a lot like the Rivarossi big boy. The way this one is. What's that? Where did that come from? Is this plastic falling apart also? Oh, it came right there. So that means that, yes, this screw right underneath there is holding on the boiler also. Yeah, and it was broken because that came apart super easy. So 2 screws would hold it on if this one hadn't been dropped or something. And we're gonna have to do some creative re-gluing on that and get that repaired. Yes, where's that thing that was hanging out of the... Oh, it's gone now. Did you see that in the video? There was something stuck in there. And I can't find it. We're going to have to get these hand railings out. One just fell. It's the old 90 degree twist, make careful kind of stuff. Because we're going to have to get this underneath the hot soapy water and a toothbrush and get that out of there. This little strap here is going to be in our way. We're going to get him out of here right now. These trucks will end up coming off and we'll really be able to get in there and root around. It's like the long slot goes backwards towards the motor. There's a little pin right under here that made me super nervous because it acted like it did not want to come out. And then of course, sure, yeah, it had to fall. Oh, there we go, inside the truck. Here's what he looks like right there. That is the coupler from the miter box because it takes it and turns it into a 90 degree and brings it down right under there. This motor, it's got this wire going into it, it's soldered on. So let's get the old soldering iron warming up. 2 screws right here. No, I need that battery, dang it. Unbelievable. Throw a freshie in, keep going. 2 screws here for the motor. One motor is loose with a drive coupler. It's got a slot in it. That little bugger holding the electrical connection. I'm just gonna open this up some, get that wire out. Looks like the soldering iron's already hot. Little touch right here. Yeah, that's what we're looking for. Look at that little motor. Holy moly. Let's get this miter box out. 2 screws. He's out. And this will have to be opened up, rooted around through. Cleaned and re-lubed. Intermediate drive line. Slot looks good. Yes. Front miter box. Now this one, when he came out like this, those miter boxes are not identical. I thought maybe they flipped one around. Nope, there's a front box and a rear box. Probably not much difference other than they just flipped this bar right here around, I would assume. See, that's the rear truck. I'm gonna put him back here. He goes like this, just to make it as easy as possible for me. There's a lot of parts on this, you know. The front one. Now this front one, there's a screw right under here. We get this guy out. He looks like that. Front truck comes out. Here's the steam swivel right here. Provides the steam to the front. Pull this juice wire out. Yep, there's that one. Now we should have another screw. There they are. There's some screws right there to get this out of the body. Leave these in, leave this in, no reason for that, but it is filthy. Blech. Time to toothbrush and soap all this. Get this cleaned up better. These here, we'll disassemble them a little more. They're nasty too. Yes, they are. Oh, how did this get so funky? Jeez. I'm gonna get me out a whole nother one of these paint trays just to work on these drivers. This. I don't want to take this out because that's going to take this crossbar off, and then we are going to lose the valve gearing and the timing and the eccentric crane. This, oh, my aching. And to put it back together, whew, I want to get to this gearbox. Under here, staring at this thing. We're going to get this center one out right here. Goodness. I damn near launched that into across the room. I was hoping I didn't have to take this out, but it looks like I do. This is the rear trailing truck. Here we go. Here we are. Now we're somewhere. Yes, we are. Yeah. Oh, there's some crud in there. Push up on this miter box because it's kind of locked in to the wheels. Here, see? Starting to come out. Come on, a little more. Just some. More than this. There it is. So we can put that back in. And this is what she looks like. Here's a traction tire right here. Probably older than, yeah, that thing is hard. This miter box, open her up. Right on the ground. Oh, I hope I don't roll over it with the chair when I back up. I got lucky. These parts here, a guy could sit there with the old Q-tips and the odorless mineral spirits, and you could work on it. You can get a toothbrush with some light soap on it, give it the scrub. There is a phenomenal amount of stuff on here, and I ain't kidding. I think I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna fire up the old ultrasonic cleaner and put it in there, because that's a lot to do. And look at this one. Look, I mean, honest, that'll just take forever to clean that. And we can just throw it in the ultrasonic and it'll be gorgeous. A lot of guys have been wondering, where the heck did this go? Well, let's bring her back in. This week's classic model on Classic Model Trains. Do you guys know who this is? If you do, type it down below. If you don't, hang out till the end. I'll let you know who it is. Let's get back into it. While I'm waiting for the ultrasonic cleaner to get warm, I'm going to take this tender apart so I can wash this and get it dry. This pin that sits up front here, I took it out when nobody was looking. It sits right there, and it's got the world's smallest nut on it, which is, trapped right in there. So you take this apart, try not to lose either piece. This is important because it holds the tender together. We don't want to lose it though. I mean, ew, try to find one of those. But the previous owner, normally these lift out from the front like this, and then they'll come out. But the previous owner glued this upper Katy box in, and he glued it to the body also. So it won't cut. It's dang it. Gotta be careful when you're doing the modifications. So if we can come under here and just cut this glue joint carefully. Come on, come on. Yes, some more. Just some. Aha, yeah. That's what we're talking about. Now this box shouldn't have been like that. And there should be a screw holding it on. So as far as I am concerned, we're going to get rid of the whole thing, and we're going to end up doing this the correct way. Filth, even in there. God, sat in a dirty basement, didn't it? So there's that Katy box right there. Little cleaning up down here to do, and we'll get a whole new one put on that does what it's supposed to do and mount it up the way it's supposed to be mounted up. Usually these ribs are pretty easy to put couplers on. To the sink. I'm gonna try a little different cleaner because this stuff's a lot cheaper than Simple Green. This is some orange. Get it at the dollar store, and this only cost me $1.25 because I guess they don't want to change the name to the $1.25 store. So here's our rear truck right here. The gearbox is out of it. So this is mostly metal with the valve gears, and we are just going to give her a little bit of time. Got it set to 104. The old Rove Sun. Some people always like to wonder what the heck I'm using. 5 minutes. There. Let go. Okay. Oh yeah. Let's go get it rinsed off. I don't see any Scooby Fuzz on it anymore. Oh, the wheels are just, they're just falling out now. Before they were kind of stuck in there. I'd say that works. Maybe a little touch up on the rods, but yeah. I'm gonna just take this whole thing and just dunk it in. Give it another 5 minutes. Leave the gearbox in. I cleaned this one by hand. There's not much to it. So I don't think I'm gonna kill off the miter box. The little filler right in there. We'll still have to disassemble it, for final cleaning and lubing, but yep, throw this one in too. Dirty. This is the rear drivers right here. I spent a phenomenal amount of time cleaning them. Little Oldest Mineral Spirits, and I took the heavy grease off the wheels. And then I come by with the fiberglass pencil, and there's a lot of wheels and stuff here. And your valve gear, it really loosened up after I got done ultrasonic cleaning it. We're gonna give it a little taste of oil right here on all of these little axles. Here, yes, 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 and 8. And then what I want to do, so I want to give it a test roll, but I can't if it doesn't have this axle retainer on it. So I'm just gonna slip this in. One screw's all you need. And since we're here, all the valving and all the rods, they're gonna get a taste. Because if it's gonna bind up, I wanna know where. Right now, there's a lot of things that move on this. Holy moly. So once we put the miter box in, we're not gonna be able to do this. Wow. It is not as free rolling as I had hoped it would be. I did forget, not that this is gonna make a difference, but I forgot to lube these. I guess I don't know what I expected. Guess I'm expecting it to be free like roller bearings. There's no binding on it, but there's definitely some resistance. Get this axle cover back off so we can put the miter box in it. This guy, he didn't get in the ultrasonic cleaner. It does have thrust washers in it, which makes me happy. Little oil there, little there. Super lube. We are going to oil the bushings, grease our gears. Just some. When I zoom in and show this, where it's like the size of your screen, it looks like I'm just putting half the bucket on it, but it really, in real life size, it's not that much. A little in here. Now, it's nice to see that these are brass. These only fit in one way. Narrow end right here. The larger end allows for this to be hooked up to. Stab it in there, and what we're going to try to do is get this part centered in this hole, and it'll all be kind of pressed together when it's all said and done. And when this guy goes on, it presses it in from the bottom, keeps it centered. You can see right here, centered, here, centered. Where'd that fuzz come from? That feller. Yeah, this guy was he sitting like this? No, he was like this. And then this guy goes through there, goes through there, Goes through there, and then send her home. See, now we can't turn it because the miter box has got us all stopped now. We're going to put this in the frame. I got to get this guy down inside that hole and then threaded into this right there. And it's kind of like a guy should almost do that before you put all this on, seems like. If we can get this in there. Oh, yeah, okay. Made a fool out of me, didn't it? That's okay. Couple screws. We're going to keep that off until we get this bolted on. It's going to be a lot easier. Give him a healthy snug, but not too much. And then we'll reassemble this. So there's one done. Hey, you want to see that front one? This is what it looks like now after pulling it out of the ultrasonic cleaner. There's all the stuff, the dust, it's gone. The Locomotive isn't as shiny, flat black as I'd hoped. It actually looks a little discolored. Even the boiler and stuff like that looks like that. So I got to do the same thing with this. We're going to do the exact same procedure. This screw, this comes out. We're going to clean these with odorless mineral spirits, shine them up with the pen. We're going to lube this the exact same way. It disassembles the exact same way. No reason to disassemble any of this valve gearing up here. No. Unless you have to replace a traction tire, because there's one right there. And then, of course, you'd have to have a really small nut set, take this out, and then to be able to get that, yeah. Here's something interesting. You know, I've been dragging this wire around on this thing for quite some time, and I guess I never really gave a thought about what the heck it was doing. Come to find out, it's supplying this little light bulb right here. I don't know, just look at the right, it's right here. No, it's right here. This is the part, right here. That's the light bulb. It sits down under here, buried in the guts of this thing, because the headlight is sitting right there. Crazy. Is this thing gonna work? Shoot. You know what? We could find out. We can get the old transformer out and just hook up to it and see. I'm gonna really be beside myself if this thing does light up. That'll be pretty freaking amazing. What do we gotta do? Oh, we'll go about that much. One here, one here. Oh, can you believe it? What's full bore look like? Not very bright, I gotta tell you. Can't believe that thing works though. Unbelievable. When it was in there, see, it had these two little fellers. I don't know why it needed two. And then this guy was jammed in the front. Oh God, now I gotta get all those space. Okay, yeah. Jesus. Something like that. Get all this back on. Yeah. That one, he goes in the center. And then this long one that looks like this. Mess around with it, go up front. I didn't disconnect this front lead truck from that spring. Couldn't find any reason to do it. This is a shoulder bolt. So you got to make sure that the truck gets on the shoulder part. Don't clamp it down. This has got to move after it's all said and done. That puts a lot of down pressure on that. You can get through the turnouts better that way. Doesn't have a lot of articulation, but it doesn't need to because the whole truck will articulate. Clean these guys up now. It was a little hard when it was flopping in the wind. Little odorless mineral spirits. They don't pick up any juice. So we're just getting the grease off of them. Now, going back to our chassis, we got this long bolt that looks like this that goes down through there to hold all this together. It's going through some. Come on. So there's that one. Dang it. I blew it. And I also forgot to put the bottom of the... This has got to go on too. So that means I got to take these back off, put this on, and then put these back on. See, that's all right. That's what happens when you know, the first time. But if I did 10 of these a day, I'd be really good at it. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll be back after I fix my mistake. Yep. Dang it. You know, this locomotive right here is what they call a y6b. It's a class of locomotives that the Norfolk and Western used. This is a U.S.R.A. design, and they call them generally Mallet. It took me the longest time. Some guys want to call them a Mallet. No, it's like Mallet. The Mallet locomotive was invented by this Swiss engineer feller, Anatole Mallet, maybe. I know I got the last part right, because Google told me how to say it. Mallet. It's derived from the French-speaking Swiss. But Mallets are articulated locomotives. you know, where for the front in the rigid boiler, although back in the old days they tried to make a flexible boiler. No, it didn't work out. But they did find that the flexible front trucks, that was a pretty good idea. It was 1884 when he came up with the articulated Malays. Now these ones here, they used what's called compounding. For steam engines, we all know that they boil the water, make the pressure, and then like a normal looking locomotive that doesn't articulate with 27 sets of drivers and steam chests all over the place, they just use the high pressure mostly once. Now they're specific in general, one time, and then it goes away. In a compounding steam locomotive, the drivers that are on the fixed part of the chassis that do not articulate back and forth, they would receive the high pressure steam. And then after it went, instead of exhausting it out the smoke box, they would run it down and run it on the front set of articulated cylinders at a little lower pressure because some of it was already used up. Give her a go again, and then after it was all said and done, then it would go out the exhaust. Compound steam locomotives, they weren't fast. They were pretty slow. They were difficult to control because you got the low pressure going to the front drivers, high pressure going to the rear drivers, the guys up there on the bar trying to figure it out. They would slip out and then stall because of the different tractive efforts from the different pressures going to the front, the articulated cylinders. In case you guys didn't know it, the big boy is actually, it's a Mallet also, because it's got the articulated front end on it. But the big boy is what's referred to as a simple compound steam locomotive. They got rid of the high pressure, low pressure, and they kept the pressures the same going to all the cylinders, and it took care of a lot of the problems and also made them go quite a bit more faster. The last simple compound Malays that were used was the Norfolk and Western with the y6b's. Now, doing the research on the Google machine out there, it tells me that Norfolk and Western's y6b, the 2156, it's the strongest pulling steam locomotive in existence that was out there. Now some of you guys are going, hey, what about the big boy? Apparently the y6b's that Norfolk and Western had could produce up to 170,000 pounds of tractive effort. And the big boy, back in its day, I don't know, maybe they've updated it over time, but according to the Google machine, the big boys only put out 135,375 pounds of tractive effort. The Norfolk and Westerns, their Malays, could typically cruise at around 50 miles an hour, but there's some rumors out there that says that they could reach speeds of up to 65 miles an hour. Not real fast, compared to the big boy. I think it goes a little faster, but had more tractive effort. Strange. Oh, we should get back to this. This motor's really kind of hanging out there. I bolted it on because I figured once I put this on, I wouldn't be able to reach it. And then I realized that I can get to it all day. We're gonna put this on the bottom of the locomotive and then go back. Well, I'll put those trucks on off camera because we all know how to do that. Not bad. I mean, I've messed up more. This only took me like a minute and a half to fix. 2 screws for holding the bottom on. Yep. The bottom of the body. We've about got this thing licked. Put these drive lines to go up from the bottom. Look down there and see which way that shaft is sitting. It is sitting this direction. And then this miter box, here goes in the front. And we got to time up this pin right there with where the grooves are at in that drive shaft. Then you can feel the whole thing kind of go together. Get a couple screws in there and put that miter box in. Well, it turns one way, but it doesn't turn the other. I wonder why. The strange little steam pipe up front here, it's not doing the pivot very well. This pipe right here, see it coming off from the front up here going to the steam chests. It's got to be able to move just a wee bit. Now we get a fight putting the drive line in and getting the other drive line all hooked. Oh yeah. I've got my cross to line up with these pins going this direction. So I want this like this. We got to get him in there and then we got to get this. Oh, I mean, honest. There is a lot going on here. I guess I got it. I mean, it's hooked up. Certainly don't want to go around prying this stuff. Make sure it's all going in flat and flush. Well, in a process that seemed like it took 27 hours, I got this in. I had to pull the motor back off in order to get this little slip joint in right here. You can access the motor. You're able to get this truck to turn every once in a while, far enough out of the way to get to that screw right there. And then of course you rotate everything the other way, get to that screw right there, line it all up, hold it in, hold it 7 hands, 6 fingers, and get her in there. Let's get this little hunk of burning love in. Keeps these things from flapping in the wind so much. These are more shoulder bolts. It's got that little shoulder right there, so you can tighten it up, but it still allows a little movement in there. Keep them up at the top of the shoulder while you're putting them in. You don't want to squish it in there. That thing is cleaned and serviced. We got to get this little wire soldered back on. He goes right in this area right there. I don't know why this looks so long and nasty. I think over here on the tender body, when you disconnect these would go in, that would go in right there, but there's just no reason for it to be so long. It's almost like this was the original one and then somebody stuck an extra chunk in there is what it looks like to me. What is going on? There it is. I'm gonna tin this wire up right here because it's all nasty looking and it's trying to fray on us. This isn't soldering as good as I hoped because it's dirty. Solder should stick almost immediately, you know, once it's hot enough. And I got a hot gun, so when you got a problem with solder not sticking, get some flex on it. This will clean it all up. Makes it do what it's supposed to do. Yes. Try this again. Much better. Shrink that up on there. Once that cools and gets a little harder, I can take a black Sharpie after it and clean it up. Now it's not so long and ugly. Juices just flow through this. A little different than some of the other ones out there. Yes, it is. We're gonna screw that back in just for our test drive here. That goes like that. This is gonna go in there. We're gonna have a big long piece of ugly wire. Okay. Yep, that's what it's gonna be. We gotta get some brushes in this motor. We give a little taste right down in this area. Maybe down inside of there. Here's this little, oh, look at the dust on it. Oh, this stuff gets so dusty in here. Well, here's my brushes. I put these brushes in this one because I didn't know any better. But now we want the brushes back. There's one. Look at them beefy buggers. Oh, they're huge. Want to clean these up just a bit with some odorless mineral spirits. Boy, this is just sticky. Oh, that's that silly screen, isn't it? Yes. Back in the day, they made one out of, I don't know, pencil lead. And then the other one was made out of a screen. And I understand that that's made that way, this one here, to help scrub the commutator so it doesn't get so dirty. That's what the boys have shared with me. These go in one way, so you got a hole in the end of them, right there. That hole is going to face up. Do not drop this. Brush spring goes in there, holds her in. There's uno. Fold these springs in. We can put this over on the track and see how she works. Wait, what do these wheels look like? Yeah, I'm gonna have to do the cleany on all these wheels back here too. They're pretty funky looking. But after I do that, then we'll get her up on the track. Not the prettiest looking thing sitting on the tracks without the body on it. God. Let's twist the wick here. Oh, we could go the other way. Oh, yes, look at that. And it's actually pretty quiet. Wow. Yep, the inside guts of them. Not much to them. Well, let's get that body on it. Oh, we need to fix that coupler back here. We ain't got no coupler yet. Dang it. The sides of this, right through here and right through here, are different heights. I'm liking that. More better to do this if it's the tenders on. You know, I looked at this coal up here and I thought, my God, that's an amazing looking molding of coal. And when I was scrubbing the thing down with the soap and water, and then little black things started showing up at the bottom of the sink. I'm like, what's going on? I touched this and come to find out somebody glued that in with white glue. Yep, right there's where it all, yeah. Who would have guessed? I certainly didn't. Made a mess. We're gonna start off with the 242 Universal Black Box. 146 whisker longs. Now that goes on there. Just a little bit of clearance, but we're not sure what the coupler height is. So we gotta start somewhere. You get this 246 tap and drill set, gives you all the tools that you need. There's two different size drill bits in here. This is for tapping, this is for clearance. So I want to tap. I want a little meat left over so I can put some threads in it. Set it up, we got our hole here and commenced drilling. One hole, tap it for 256. 256 by quarters. I think that's gonna be a little short. I'm gonna go with okay, I guess we're going with 5/16. Get all this back on. Oh man, we are almost hitting that. Ah, that is way off. Way off. So I got to do some creative reworking on it. We got to lift that thing up almost 3/16 of an inch. Holy moly. Turns out I had to do a little more work to that coupler. It's somewhat closer now, but we need an overshank or something like that. There is a small shim underneath there because it was sitting kind of at an angle. So it's flat now. That's pretty close since I don't have an overshank coupler. That's gonna get her done. I was able to glue this little tit back on here for this rear cab mount, and it wasn't happy about it at all. Seems like the CA glue, it just kept crumbling as I was trying to glue it the first time, and the CA glue doesn't melt it. I don't know what this is made out of, but there's a lot of work. Drilled it out, got the screw to finally go in without breaking the thing still, so we can get this body finally put back on. One little filler up here in the front, one little filler down here in the back. Hopefully all my modifications worked. Come on. Get these cab railings put back in. Seems like they're smaller than the last time I looked at them. Now we can do the final run on it. Oh, sure. These are almost always used exclusively with freight, and at the end of their lifespan, they were used mostly for hauling coal. This one glides along quite nicely, I have to say. Fly by all my buildings. Oh, sure. Loving it. Hey, you know what we need to do? We need to bend it around some curves and see that front end articulate. Yeah, I think that'd look pretty cool. I got 32-inch radiuses on my layout, and my turnout radius is really big. I didn't see that thing hardly bend around there at all. Golly, a little disappointing. I wanted to see it really honk off to the side, and well, what do you do? Well, we got another one checked off the old checklist there. Re-lubed, running, doing its thing on the track. We're nearing the end of the video. Now the 33%ers are hanging out with me right now. We can tell stories. Just want to say, a few days ago, I just passed the 8,000 subscriber milestone. Super happy about that. Thank you guys so much. So much for all the support you show for my channel. All the hard work that I put into making these videos. Hopefully that they're somewhat entertaining. They gotta be, because people keep signing on. That's a pretty good deal for me. Our classic model of the week. I'm gonna play this little video snippet of her here.
You're dead.
Because that's who I first knew her as. Stifler's mom, when she was, her and Finch. That memorable thing, that is Jennifer Coolidge from the American Pie. She probably did more work before that, but this is the first time I ever knew anything about her, was the American Pie franchise. Yeah. Want to say that those eBay auctions that we had went absolutely amazing. I just mailed them out this last Monday. Today, right now, it's Thursday. This probably won't be up until Friday. Everybody should have them in their hands by now. It's just great, great. I've already started buying more broken stuff that needs some loving for more episodes. So I am Ron with Classic Model Trains. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little over half an hour now. You guys take care. Bye-bye.